The Sports Source is brought to you by Fast Frame. Turn your memorabilia into a work of art.
You are watching East Tennessee's first and only year-round sports talk show on television. This is The Sports Source with your host, John Pennington.
Good Sunday morning and welcome into The Sports Source. Tony Bennett left his heart in San Francisco. I left my vocal cords in South Carolina this week, so I'll be talking like I have a frog in my throat for the rest of the day, which means I'm going to let the panel do most of the talking, which means you can't hear me over your applause in your own home right now. We're going to have tons of Tennessee topics today, really good stuff. We're covering football, basketball, baseball, Moneyball, lots of stuff to talk about. Let's get right into it before I waste my voice anymore. First segment brought to you by our friends at Tennova Healthcare. When you need medical care in East Tennessee, Tennova is always nearby. Jefferson City, Morristown, Newport, La Follette, Jamestown, Cleveland, 3 locations around Knoxville and Powell, downtown, Turkey Creek. Trust the group that I and my family trust, Tennova. Learn more at Tennova.com. Here's another group that I trust, maybe not with my life, but I do trust them with the show. Bob Hodge. Back off the disabled list, Mike Strange and his partially new knee is with us.
Thank you.
Josh Ward is back with us, and down there, Mr. Chuck Cavaleras. A good time looking for a place to happen, and right here he is. All right. On Friday, arguably the greatest, or at least the most famous, I would argue the greatest, but the most famous boxer in the history of the sport was laid to rest in Louisville, Kentucky. I wanted to kind of do something in the first segment that would tie into Muhammad Ali, just so we could mention him on the show. And there were a couple of things that I thought fit, one of which is swagger, which, of course, Muhammad Ali brought to the sports world. I mean, he was really the first one to start the braggadocio stuff. And now, of course, it's taken over the world. But Jalen Tabor, defensive back for Florida, who got into it with some UT players earlier this year, talking about he's the only Jalen that matters in the SEC, et cetera, et cetera. Tennessee, Jalen Hurd, Jalen Reeves-Maben. Well, Tennessee responded back then, a few months ago, on Twitter. And Butch Jones wasn't a fan of that. Well, Jalen Tabor made a shot this week. He was talking about Cleveland collapsing in the fourth quarter of an NBA Finals game. And he made a joke that they looked like Tennessee in the fourth quarter of the Florida game. Of course, he misspelled fourth. But anyway, Tennessee didn't respond. No response at all. Our friend Dave Hooker at GridironNews.com had the view that I think a lot of people on Twitter have, and that is Tennessee should talk. Why are you just sitting there and taking it? Get back at him on Twitter. So, should Tennessee have shown more swagger and gone after this guy? Or, as Dave put it, are they right to kind of be quiet? Because his point is, in the 90s when they were quiet, didn't do them any good. It almost fed to an air of timidness. So, would it help Tennessee if they showed a little more swagger and tweeted more? Or are they better keeping their mouths shut? I'm going to start with the youngest member of our panel, our own swagger guy, Josh Ward.
The sports talk radio host in me says absolutely respond. More conversation, the better. But I would not respond because I promise it's locker room conversation. As they're going through the summer workouts, the strength coaches, they're bringing it up. Did you hear what he said? I don't think you have to worry about Jalen Hurd, Jalen Reeves-Maben being timid when they get out on the field. If I'm Butch Jones, I'm actually thankful because right now Tennessee is getting all the pub with the East and Florida has the winning streak. So that should actually tick off Florida. Now I think Jalen Tabor is helping give some bulletin board material for Tennessee to use.
Yeah, see, I'm so much old school, I do remember the bulletin board material, and I think that's the way it was in the 90s. Now I think, to me, Tennessee, if you respond, you're really just playing into what they want you to do. They want to get it back and forth and stir things up. No. I say, just let it go.
Especially Jalen Tabor. Now, personally, I would go the same way. I watch Tennessee fans fire stuff back at him, and I'm sitting there thinking, why? That's what he wants.
Exactly.
Just hush. You know the best way to free somebody out? Ignore them. It drives people nuts. I get people on Twitter that'll send me nice things or questions. I respond. Somebody sends something ugly, they eat static. And they're like, oh, he won't respond to me. He's not responding to me. Yeah, moron, I'm not. Guys, your thoughts on what Tennessee should have done? Swagger or no swagger?
I don't think responding to that kind of stuff has anything to do really with swagger. I mean, I think it has to do with being sort of a hothead and a loudmouth and a jerk. And I don't